Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from. We are here today with the famous Len DiCostanzo. He is the CEO of MSP Toolkit and the channel chief advisor for Network Box USA. Welcome, Len.
Hey, Scott, thanks for that. Gee, I didn't know I was famous, but happy to be brought up like that. I hear you're famous from a radio personality yourself, right?
That many years ago. But Len, I figured I'd roll out the red carpet for you since you've been in the channel so long, and you're kind of a channel icon yourself. So
Yeah, well, I've been, my friend Rob Ray, Dan Wensley once called me, what you say, a dinosaur? So what that means is I've been around, Scott, and I've seen a lot of things and work with a lot of vendors, a lot of partners. So it means I got a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom.
I gotcha. Well, tell us a little about that experience. If I'm not mistaken, you started in the channel, but back in 1984.
Well, gee, now you're really dating me, but yeah, I started a solution provider business back in the day when it was just getting started. I've really been through every kind of evolutionary stage of the channel, transformational stage, whatever you want to call it. Feel like I've been a big part of this current 20-year run of managed services. I did launch my managed service practice late 90s, was able to sell my business as a result in '01, and joined the vendor side around 2006 when I worked with Kaseya, helped build a global MSP community there.
Okay.
Joined Autotask, was there for quite a bit, built a global community of close to 10,000 MSPs around the world, merged with Datto, and since then kind of worked as channel chief advisor for several companies in the channel like ConnectWise, LogMeIn, LastPass, and now Network Box USA. So been helping vendors align with how their partners go to market now over the last several years, building partner programs and taking them to market, kind of like we're doing here with Network Box USA.
Okay, very nice, very nice. So you dropped some pretty big names of companies in the channel that you've been associated with. I don't know anybody else that's worked for all the major vendors like that in the channel. That's quite an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, well, it's either it's probably, yeah, I would consider an accomplishment, or you've just been jumping around. But no, I've had a couple of good years everywhere and really have enjoyed, mostly working with MSPs. I mean, for the longest time, I was teaching MSP best practices. In fact, I'm working with Informa Tech down at MSP Summit, September 13th. I'll be doing a 2-hour workshop on how to build your managed service practice, grow your managed service practice. And anybody going to MSP Summit, let us know. But it should be a really excellent show put on by my friend Bobby DiMarzo and Kelly Danzig over at Informa. And I'll be down there presenting with a whole bunch of folks at the MSP Summit. So right after DattoCon.
Good deal. Great group of folks those people are. So yeah.
Yep.
So listen, Len, before we get into Network Box USA, because I really want to learn all about it, tell me about, you've got a little history though, not just in the channel on the sales and vendor side, but you also had your own IT business yourself, right?
Oh yeah, well, I had started, like I mentioned earlier, maybe mentioned probably right in the beginning, where I started my business '84 on a single floppy PC, writing code. This thing called networks came out, started building networks so I could write multi-user code. Next thing you know, I was a one-stop shop IT solution provider. Typically addressed myself as a consulting firm,
Okay.
specializing in providing technology solutions to solve business needs and wants. It was kind of like my tagline. And in fact, one of the things I always talk about the term MSP is, what does it mean to you? To me, it means managed service practice, but we all know it means managed service provider today. And it just kind of always conjures up some memories. Like, I never wanted people to call me a VAR, right? What's a VAR? A value-added reseller? I'm a consulting firm. So I always ask an MSP who's called an MSP by vendors, I know it's a term, but, always know, self-identify. I was probably one of the first folks to tell you to self-identify who you are. And, if you're an MSP, a solution provider, an IT service provider, feel good about it, but always have a good managed service practice and generate recurring revenue, which we're going to touch on a little today.
Well, and the MSP acronym has really just started taking off in my eyes, probably in the last decade or so. So you were actually doing the whole MSP thing way before it was even a thing. So congrats on that. I'm sure you've got some great knowledge and wisdom to share. So that must be why Network Box has recruited you to be their channel chief advisor.
Yeah, well, I guess there's something there, Scott, just always trying to, bring what I've learned, help the community, drive the community to be better. I'm always learning, continue to learn, but I definitely love sharing my experience and what I've learned out there, so I talk a lot about service catalog development. We'll touch on that a little bit today as we
Okay.
talk about building out your cybersecurity stack. I've got some great pricing and bundling content. Building out your, managed service operations center, how to work with a SOC, so a lot of experience, and I get the great opportunity to share it with people during webinars like this and speaking engagements all over. So been a fun ride.
Well, I've got one quick question, kind of off the cuff. It really doesn't have anything to do with Network Box or MSP Toolkit or anything, but just for you in general, as a personal note, what advice would you have for the nimble MSP? I think that's the technical term for the one-man show or one-woman show that's just starting out. What advice would you have for them?
Oh, geez. Well, I often got asked that question at Autotask, like, oh, I don't need Autotask, or I don't need an RMM, or, the thing is, I always tell, no matter how small you are, you really have to think like you are going to get bigger. You're going
Okay.
to maybe have a few more employees. You're going to have a few more clients, and make sure your processes is in place. Your processes are tight. Your automation tools are in place. Like, listen to webinars like this, learn, and then you can't think like you're a one-man band and you're going to be there forever. Otherwise you will be. And interestingly, I often say it took, 10, 12 years for me to actually be promoted to CEO of my own business, because for the longest time, I was such a technical person, writing code, building tech specs, building infrastructure, that I kind of lost my focus a bit, and then ultimately realized I had to grow my business. So
Sure.
I think making sure you have a vision for where you want to go and get there, and then attend events like this, events like MSP Summit, learn from your peers, and get your, people, process, and tech in place. Because when you add people, it's already there. When you need a
That's right.
PSA, it's too late. You get your PSA now, set it up right. Add a user, kind of like that.
Yep. Well, that's great, solid advice, Len. So, and speaking of solid advice, it's solid advice for an MSP to team up with a SIM and SOC provider such as Network Box USA.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll get started. One of the things we're going to learn, it's more than SIM and SOC with Network Box, but as you can see from the title, we're going to talk about growing your cybersecurity stack overnight
Okay.
with Network Box USA. And, I put the overnight in there just to kind of make it a little catchy title. We know nothing really happens overnight, but you could literally grow your stack and be delivering top cybersecurity services to your client when you partner with Network Box. I say over 18 plus proprietary cybersecurity solutions, because there's quite a few bundles and smaller solutions in there. Depends how you kind of want to look at it. But we're really looking for early adopters to work with Network Box USA. We're finishing up the details behind the partner program and some benefits. But the key is working with one strategic MSSP vendor with over 18 plus proprietary, which is pretty unusual to have that many solutions under one roof, and all managed by 24/7, 365 security operations center, overlaid by a security response center. And really, there's not, one of the reasons I really liked working with Network Box, or decided to work here, was that it's a huge opportunity for MSPs to fill gaps in their stack and or start replacing other items in their other services in their stack, simply because there's so many things you have to do now with cybersecurity that you could get down a rat hole. So you can really get rid of a lot of, I don't want to say get rid of responsibility, because you never are rid of it, but
Sure.
you can certainly outsource and partner, grow your stack really quickly, and then focus on what you're doing the best for your clients. So I guess let's get rolling, right, Scott?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. Well, thanks for that banter, and thanks for joining us, everyone. I always like to congratulate folks for taking time out of their busy day to kind of work on their business and not in it. And it's definitely what you hear a lot these days, but it is true. I got caught up in that as well. You can't work in it every day and learn what you got to do to get bigger and better. So I am Len DiCostanzo, CEO at MSP Toolkit, and we kind of covered a little bit of my history. But, more than 3.5 decades. I probably should put 4 there, but I just didn't want to put 4 decades. I was founder and CEO of a business technology solution provider, and I built a managed service practice late 90s and built some content and went around, kind of sharing those best practices with MSPs for many years. I still do it today, called the MSP Accelerator. And that really allowed me to get to work with those top industry vendors that I mentioned earlier, Kaseya, Autotask, Datto, ConnectWise, and really help build those global partner communities based on best practices around the tools those vendors provided. But I've mostly, like I said, been living, learning, and sharing those best practices I learn. And as you mentioned, channel chief advisor to NetworkBox USA. And you got my email there. You guys can all connect with me on LinkedIn, friend me on Facebook, shoot me an email, whatever you need, and always be happy to chat with folks. Actually, I was hoping Pierluigi Stella would join us today. He's the CTO, founder, and CISO here at NetworkBox USA. And I mentioned early adopters on that title slide, and we are looking to work really closely, both Pierluigi and I, with any early adopter partners, simply because we want to make sure when we are rolled out really strong, our partner program is ready to go. We have every asset there, but right now, Pierluigi and I are looking for some solid early adopters who want to grow their stack right away and start working with one of the what I've heard from partners that we already work with, one of the best kept secrets in the channel. You see the website, www.networkboxusa.com, based out of Houston, Texas. And Pierluigi has unfortunately got stuck traveling back from Italy. He is Italian. We've got 2 Italians on this webinar today, Scott, and he wishes he was here, and he may jump in depending on how his flights go. So say hi to Pierluigi. So I'm going to share several insights today. Number one, we'll kind of discuss the market opportunity for cybersecurity solutions. And I think everybody knows there's an opportunity there, but I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that were very interesting to me as I prepared for this webinar. And then we'll touch on how NetworkBox USA is going to help you seize that opportunity and not only accelerate recurring revenue, but give you a chance to generate some project revenue as well. And then we'll share these developing benefits of the NetworkBox USA partner program that will really help make it easy for you to deploy NetworkBox cybersecurity solutions for your clients, and really any of the services you provide as an MSP, combined with what NetworkBox will give you in your stack. And then we'll just touch on how to get started quickly and leave you with some key next steps. So let's get rolling, all right? So the market opportunity for cybersecurity solutions, we know is pretty big out there. Unfortunately, there are criminals and bad actors out there trying to attack you and your clients as an MSP. And it kind of feels a little strange sometimes generating revenue on the backs of that, but someone's got to do it, and you might as well earn some revenue. So the market opportunity really is going to drive project and recurring revenue opportunities for partners, and we'll kind of touch on it. And here was a pretty incredible stat. These numbers are always way too big for me to comprehend, but $259 billion cybersecurity market by 2025, shared by Allied Market Research. And what we'll touch on today, and what I always touch on, not only with MSPs I work with, but with vendors whose partner programs I help build, the very first thing we have to do is help partners penetrate their client base. And let's build the tools they need to get rolling in their client base and take a very structured sales approach to making that happen. So you got a $259 billion market. Take a look at your client base, look at the number of endpoints, users you're managing, devices you're managing, and start doing a map with any vendor who kind of shares a market opportunity stat like this and see what your opportunity is. But that opportunity, again, it's on the backs of some, kind of bad actors and bad things going on out there. And here you see another stat from Accenture: 68% of business leaders feel their cybersecurity risks are increasing, and pretty big number. And we all know it's happening. And in fact, cyber insurance companies are really starting to tighten up. And another stat from the Sophos Data Ransomware Report 2022, 94% have found it harder to secure cyber insurance coverage over the last year. Now, having been in business for 20 years or so and having to pay for E&O insurance, cyber insurance now, I can't imagine it's a fun thing to pay for. But as part of your risk management approach, you definitely got to consider having it as a business. And MSPs should really be driving their clients there and helping them make it easier to secure that cyber insurance coverage. And in fact, we'll touch on partnering, but in CompTIA's Trends in Managed Service report, 44% of MSPs have partnered with peers, chiefly MSSPs like NetworkBox, to fill in cybersecurity skill gaps. So it's really hard to do this all yourself. And in fact, you're seeing it in the stats. And certainly partnering has been around forever. Vendors partner, MSPs partner, MSPs and vendors partner. So it's not something new, but in terms of cybersecurity, it's really key to partner. And why? Well,
I want to stop you real quick.
Yeah, sure.
So can you go back to the previous slide? I think this is really huge because in IT Business Owners Group, I have seen it discussed many times that companies, now the insurance providers, are going and dropping clients because they don't meet certain criteria. So this is a huge opportunity for managed service providers or IT business owners, period, to help their clients not let that happen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's very key. Actually, I have another little slide on this coming up, so we can touch on it in a second. But,
okay.
Cyber insurance is going to drive opportunity, and a couple other things we'll touch on, drive an opportunity in this wide open market. And of course, a lot of players out there, and it's up to the MSP to figure out who to partner with. But hopefully we share enough about NetworkBox USA to put us in the conversation. And in fact, one of the nice things, again, I mentioned the 18+ cybersecurity services offered by NetworkBox, all fully managed. Here you see in Proof Points 2022 Voice of the CISO survey, where they surveyed over 1,400 CISOs from around the world. Like, attacks are perceived to be coming from all angles, right? It's insider threats, it's DDoS, email fraud, cloud account compromise, malware, ransomware, smishing, vishing, supply chain attacks. There are, if you look at this, the question is, what, if anything, do you perceive to be the biggest cybersecurity threats within your organization or industry in the next 12 months? Pick up to 3. And there are 8 here, all in the 30%, 29, 30% area here. So you don't know where that attack's coming from. So you really have to protect. I like to use NetworkBox. You got to be boxed in, really, is what it's about. And, be aware of all of these different attack vectors coming. And you mentioned cyber insurance driving cybersecurity revenue. And with all those angles of attack, you do need to have cyber insurance as part of your risk management approach. And here I've been working with Larry Mador of DataStream, and he provided this for me to share. He's out at an event, but they help MSPs, and we partner with them to help our MSPs deliver cyber insurance readiness assessments, where you can go on in, bring in DataStream. They will do a cybersecurity readiness, cyber insurance readiness assessment of your client. They will pinpoint where there are weaknesses, make those recommendations to make them more insurable, and then do the study afterwards. Once they are insurable, once you've deployed those cybersecurity solutions, you now basically can get your client insurable, and they will get insurance. And that's what Larry's team will do. Make sure you get are insurable, and help you get it. And you see the stat here you brought up earlier, Scott. This came from Sophos Data Ransomware. 97% of companies that have cyber insurance have made changes to their defenses to improve their cyber insurance position. So it's clear here that, if you do an assessment like this and make your client realize the risk they're under, they will give you a purchase order, and really you may not have to sell anything. You're just going to deploy solutions based on these recommendations from DataStream. So a wonderful opportunity. And it's not just cyber insurance. There are certifications and laws out there. I mean, we don't have that much time. We've all heard, NIST and, CIS, Center for Internet Security, all of these frameworks that give MSPs an ability to provide a holistic approach to cybersecurity and say, hey, client, even if you're not under certification, law requirements, compliance requirements, we need to follow a pretty holistic approach to cybersecurity. But CMMC, really big. If you happen to work with clients who are either servicing the DoD, Department of Defense, or work with those providers, CMMC is good business. And right here, I've got this, I believe, I don't know where the quote attribute went, but this was from Ignite's blog to Channel E to E, where they basically said CMMC is good business. And if you look at those yellow highlights, processes around CMC, you don't have to be working with DoD to follow CMMC. It's just another good framework for you. And if they're not, you can still follow things like limiting info system access to authorized users, deploy some identity and access management, ensure actions of individual users can be traced, create and retain audit logs, SIM, SOC, all of the tools and services we're going to share, can be tied to a CMMC audit or following CMMC framework. Same thing with HIPAA. It's a federal law that, covered entities have to protect data and information on patients, and the technical safeguards specifically drive opportunity. So if you're working in healthcare, look what you got here. Implement access control policies, audit controls, tech security measures to ensure transmission security, guarding against unauthorized access over an electronic network. So, HIPAA compliance is self-managed, self-regulated, but if you get caught losing data or sharing personal information on your patients, there are some big fines you're going to have to pay. So make sure your clients are aware of it, get yourself aware of it, but we're going to touch on partnering in a bit. It's really hard for partners to be MSPs or tech service providers and be able to do audits in these things. And it's always really nice to work with third-party providers. At NetworkBox, we're with Praxis Data Security, started conversations with Choice Cybersecurity. There's a bunch of firms out there, just like DataStream, that'll go out, assess and audit your clients for you, make those recommendations that actually drive services and solutions into your lap. So great market opportunity, lots of opportunity to generate revenue. So how does NetworkBox USA help partners seize that opportunity? Well, you can go out and build and staff your practice. And I think a lot of folks try to do that. I've often heard, I'm building my own SOC, I'm doing this. Well, it's great to do that, but it takes time. And you got a lot of work to do, evaluating vendors and tools, develop your product knowledge, your solution offerings, your service catalog items. It's a long-term effort with sizable investment. I always say, outsource to trusted partners. I didn't do everything even back in the day. I mean, outsource my cable, outsource network connectivity to AT&T, things like that. And you learn from people who have done it before, but outsourcing out of the gate gets you to go to market quicker, expands your offerings quickly. You can solve your client needs and wants now and start generating project and recurring revenue. And I like to look at it as a bridge to practice building. You're going to learn from folks who do it. So it's really nice to work with vendors that actually have service delivery capability to supplement an MSP, like what NetworkBox USA does and other vendors out there, of course, because they'll do it for you. You stay doing what you do best, but over time you may go, I can do that. I can hire those resources, and over time, potentially take more and more in-house. So a real good bridge to practice building. And more importantly, you work with these trusted partners, they already have ready-to-use marketing materials. I worked with other vendors out there now, NetworkBox, and everything we do is about preparing that MSP to go to market, not only technically, but on the marketing side and on the sales side. We'll share that in a second. One of the keys, though, you do have to manage your vendors if you are going to partner. So any thoughts there, Scott?
No, it all sounds great. And, it It's what every MSP and IT business owner should already know they have to do. So it is a big undertaking, I would assume, like you said, to create your own SOC. I mean, I don't want to do that. I
Well,
would rather partner with someone who's already done it and tried, tested, and true.
yeah. You asked the question before, what do you tell a smaller MSP? Like the best way a small MSP could look big is partner with folks that deliver services on your behalf. And
that's right.
Start generating revenue that's going to give you the opportunity to grow your business. I mean, you could generate revenue like you have a big team and start taking that revenue, invest it in the business, and grow it, build your own practice, your own core competency.
It's very important, I see, to align yourself with trusted vendors like NetworkBox USA.
Yeah, well, what I did here is, always like to research, look around, and get really ready here. And, the World Economic Forum had Patrick Joyce, VP and CISO at Medtronic, speak. He was quoted here. And I just thought it was real appropriate that obviously these attacks are coming from all angles, and threat actors are becoming sophisticated, systems and data more elastic, barrierless landscape, working from home, working in remote offices, traveling, airports, wherever. Business leaders, Patrick said, business leaders need to focus on these priorities and partners that will help simplify, reduce, manage, and control the expanse of the attack surface and the morphing threat environment. So, a couple of key areas I see partners or MSPs partnering, focus on what you do best and augment where you are maybe not strong or where to help drive business. Do those compliance audits I mentioned, working with, say, Praxis or even the Choice Cybersecurity, insurability assessments, security assessments. A lot of vendors offer vulnerability risk assessment, and start delivering cybersecurity services with trusted partners to fill the gaps that you don't have once those assessments and audits are complete, and outsource that SOC, outsource security response, or partner. So you're not working alone when you respond to an incident. So partnering is definitely a priority in general, but certainly in cybersecurity. And we'll see that in a second. And that's really where NetworkBox comes into play. It's not just about SIM or MDR or EDR. It's about helping partners protect themselves and their clients with minimal investment in people, process, and technology, with over 18 proprietary solutions monitored and managed by that fully staffed network of security operations centers. I say network, there's 16 SOCs around the world that NetworkBox works with, and all supported and informed by what I think is pretty unique security response center. We'll touch on that in a second. And really that is what overlays this cybersecurity stack. And if you see here, I've got 20 icons. Probably everyone's got a VPN right now. Maybe everyone's got antivirus, but look at NetworkBox SIM Plus, dark web monitoring, intrusion detection and prevention, anti-malware, anti-spam, application scanning, web access. So many services need to be in an MSP cybersecurity stack, and here you got over 20 services. I hit that a little bit too quick. Over 20 services that a partner has access to. And whether you want to start by filling a gap in what you're offering now with what you don't have, maybe you don't have intrusion detection and protection. Maybe you're not selling SIM yet. We call it SIM Plus here. Maybe you're looking for some application scanning and control, and over time you can certainly maybe replace what you already have with something here, again, because it's all monitored and managed by NetworkBox 24/7, 365, and protected by a triple ISO certified NetworkBox USA organization. And there's really not too many companies out there that are triple ISO certified in the SOC. So a lot of value to the NetworkBox USA Security Operations Center. And again, it's not just a SOC looking at a SIM or MDR. It's looking at 20 plus cybersecurity solutions that you could deploy, all fed by global threat intelligence, managed by NetworkBox USA. In fact, over 70 security partners build out the threat intelligence for NetworkBox USA. and they've deployed over 250,000 virtual honeypots around the world. Excuse me. So really big differentiator right there, and I'll touch on that in another second, but there's that triple ISO certification, PCI compliant service provider as well, and live response and support. We're going to be looking at all the data, comparing it to that threat intelligence, doing some threat hunting, updating. NetworkBox has some hardware. If you deploy it, updating hardware, updating cloud apps. I mean, really anything that goes wrong, NetworkBox USA will respond, alert the partner to an incident, act where possible, depending on how you work with NetworkBox. They can take some action, otherwise collaborate with our partners during an incident. So really highly valued SOC deployed by NetworkBox USA, all overlaid by the Security Response Center. Again, self-operated with over 70 plus threat intelligence partners, and in fact, recognized by Microsoft as a top 10 contributor to their threat intelligence. And that's a pretty big claim right there. Whereas other managed products, dependent on an individual MSSP, how are they incorporating threat intelligence? So, a real differentiator here in my mind, Scott.
Yeah, I'll say, if they're in the top 10% that Microsoft recommends, that's saying a lot. It's pretty strong.
Actually, top 10. So
yep.
So that's why we started working here with NetworkBox USA. We wanted to make sure we had an attractive partner program that let MSPs and really partners of all types. Heck, you could be a VAR, value-added reseller. You could be an IT service provider. You could be anybody who sells IT services and solutions to a client, and we can work with them. Why? Because we have the resources. As long as your client has you as their IT department, you as their hands-on, we could work with you. If you're a VAR who doesn't really have a tech staff, we can work with the tech staff at your client. So, it depends on your business model. We actually have a partner choice model, whether you want to be an agent and earn a commission. You want to be all the way on the other end as an MSP, billing your client, taking that first call. Do you want to be a VAR who just wants to sell and own the paper, and we'll do the work? So really agent model all the way down to full on MSP, bill your client.
So this is a great company to work with if you are a one person MSP or IT business, all the way up to a scaled multi-million-dollar MSP or IT business. So everybody in between.
No doubt about it. One of our partners just got acquired by one of the largest partners in the US, and they're the guys we sat in on some sales training that we were delivering, and they were delivering pieces of it. And that's where I kind of heard them call us, call NetworkBox USA, the best kept secret out there. And they're kind of anxious that we're bringing NetworkBox USA into the channel in a bigger way over the coming months. So, a lot of great partners already. We've actually two guys we're working with right now on some great campaigns and lead gen. One of them is a 3-man shop. The other one is more than 200 employees. So to your point, NetworkBox USA can kind of fit in no matter what size you are. And again, depending on how you want to work with NetworkBox, we'll definitely meet you where you are. And a lot of benefits available. Get discounted internal use licenses, 40% discount. I got some italics here, but we definitely have go-to-market playbooks and toolkits, but we're constantly developing them, and that's why I put those in asterisks. But some solid content you're going to see in a second, brandable assets, and of course we want to sell with you. I think most vendors nowadays really want to sell with you and help partners get rolling, and so do we. We built that comprehensive enablement journey. I think on the technical side, it'll be less intrusive than most, because you really don't have to be so technically inclined. In fact, when you work with NetworkBox USA and we sell with you and win the deal, we've basically built out some forms you fill out with your client information. We go configure the service, and you deploy what has to be deployed with your hands, and we start delivering the service. So pretty comprehensive enablement journey, but definitely not that technically driven. Partner support portal where you can open and manage not only support tickets, but when you win new business, open up a deployment ticket, attach those forms. And in fact, we're giving a percentage back for partners to use for co-marketing activities. So if you start driving sales, as we move from maybe penetrating your client base with you to winning new logos, you will definitely generate sales, rebates in the form of dollars, right, that you can use for marketing activities. And we're definitely interested in providing market development funds to get you started. You don't want to do a marketing activity in your base, a webinar, a live event. NetworkBox is going to be there to help you. And it's all about revenue journeys. I love to call them revenue journeys because that's what they are. Let's get you enabled to go to market quickly, penetrate your client base. And once we've got, some muscle memory with our partners selling into clients, it's a different tone of voice, Scott, when you sell to your clients, right? You know who they
Sure.
are. You don't want to send them an email going, what are you doing for cybersecurity, right? You want to say, hey, we've looked at your account or the change in landscape has caused us to reevaluate our stack. Let's have a conversation. We see some gaps, or, hey, we're seeing cyber insurance companies coming down really hard on clients. Let's take a look at yours, things like that, where your client base, you want to speak to them. And that's the kind of content we're building. And we'll work with you to look at your client base, identify opportunities based on what you have in your stack, what's not deployed, where the gaps are. And then we'll provide some awareness content for you to go on out there, drive awareness into your base. We know partners are meeting their clients regular, whether it's monthly, quarterly, have those conversations, pick up the phone, or start driving awareness using some email nurture campaigns. But it's all about, helping the partner get started quickly and starting with the clients and winning new logos. So
nice.
Great. And that's, pretty solid approach, I think. And again, as I work with vendors, I typically take this approach. So I've seen a lot of vendors now start taking up the penetrate your client base approach. And it's a great way to get started. We'll touch on that in a second. But how does NetworkBox, again, make it easy for you to deploy cybersecurity solutions for your clients? Well, it's all about helping you sell. I chat about it. I just want to kind of drill a little bit where it's all about leveraging your base. We've got an opportunity development worksheet with discovery questions, and we'll sit with you to go through your base and understand where there might be opportunity, and then help you look through your service tickets. Maybe you've got password resets that you're going to look at. Maybe you've got certain types of support tickets that will lend itself to thinking there's an opportunity for cybersecurity. Look in your CRM for past conversations and business insights. I mean, if they're in healthcare, you got to look at HIPAA. If they're working with Department of Defense, so start to kind of look at your base, formulate opportunities, and then go out and drive awareness. Whereas with prospects, you're typically driving awareness first and letting them hand raise, right? It's a little different in your client base where you want to run those awareness plays based on what you've identified and then execute campaigns. We're going to provide some of those campaigns and co-brandable assets and get calls and meetings, and we'll jump in there and help you sell and develop those opportunities and then sell with you as we do further discovery, maybe bring in some of those partners to do audits and assessments, and then develop solutions, perhaps demoing where we can for your client if they need it. And we'll help you develop that SOW, present a solution, and win the business. And that's when it really kind of gets easy, where you complete those service deployment forms, open a ticket in the portal and attach that form, and we will collaborate to deploy the service. And you can bill for projects. I mean, there's a lot of kind of work behind it, and you can generate project revenue and then sit back once it's deployed while the NetworkBox USA SOC goes to work and SRC goes to work monitoring, managing your client's network and data, and sit back, collect MRR. And really the only time we're going to engage with a partner is on incidents and incident response. And depending on how they want to work together and what services are deployed, partner can do all the incident work. We will help along the way, and we can work directly with your client. So it just depends how that partner wants to work. Again, a nice partner choice model for partners to work with NetworkBox.
Yeah, it looks like a complete blueprint right there for success.
That's what I like to call. It's got a blueprint, a structured sales process, however you want. But it works well when a partner's committed, and that's really all you need is a committed partner. We're a committed vendor. We want to be, NetworkBox USA wants to be your strategic partner in cybersecurity. So how do you get started quickly then, right? We talked about getting in your client base. Always like to throw a stat up. You see this all over the place. Selling to an existing customer is easier, period. You know them, you're doing a great job. Otherwise, it wouldn't be your client. You're able to have the conversation, right? You can't be afraid to talk to your clients. And I can't tell you how many times, I've spoken to partners who are concerned with generating more revenue from their client base. And, oh, gee, I can't sell anymore. My clients will think I'm, taking them for a ride, or I already got them covered. It's like technology changes, the landscape changes. You have to go to your clients, because I can recall my client when I wasn't growing. I mentioned it took me a while to kind of realize I had to grow. They'd be like, gee, Len, we're working with you 2-3 years. You haven't really grown much, right? Your clients look to you to grow. They look to you to add new services and solve new needs, wants, new business challenges. And, they want you to sell to them because they trust you. And that's really what makes a solution provider, a service provider, an MSP different. They're local, they're trusted. They're going to, look to you to be their strategic advisor, and you need to get there. So we've built out awareness campaign emails. I've got a couple here, talking to your client base due to the changing cybersecurity threat landscape. We've aligned our cybersecurity offerings to the CIS best practice framework. And again, you can put whatever you want in there, but it kind of gives you a start. Email 2 talks about offering a free cyber insurance readiness assessment. So, use a couple of these emails and send some of these co-branded marketing assets, SIM, SD-WAN, intrusion prevention, SOC overviews, managed cloud email security. All of these services are in the NetworkBox catalog, and we've got assets for each of those services. So wherever you find a gap, we'll have a piece. You can go talk about it and keep on going. Of course, we want you to get into your client base. We've got a really solid presentation covering, all those attack vectors, all the services that can kind of help prevent some of those attacks from being successful, and, customize that PowerPoint. We've got partners that'll wrap, their services or solutions around this, bring us in to speak, or get one of their own CISOs to speak to it. But, invites and webinar PowerPoints ready to go, and sales battle cards as well. How many times, has an MSP heard their clients say, hey, we're not being targeted, cyber's not a priority right now. Well, through assessments and audits, you can certainly tell them, but there's plenty of stats out there. In fact, I think COVID really brought on the onslaught to attack SMBs and MSPs. And here was a stat, and I don't know where the attribution went, but an employee of a small business with less than 100 employees will experience 350% more social engineering attacks than an employee of a larger enterprise. So we'll give you some conversation pointers and get you going. The famous term, don't you already have us covered? Well, gee, I started working with you 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago, and we've always evolved, and we're going to continue to evolve. So we got you covered, but things are changing, and we got to update your coverage. So,
yeah, that's right. Because what worked 10 years ago doesn't work today.
Of course, right? Antivirus backup, not enough.
Yep.
I always look to certain vendors out there who used to have a backup solution, and it became a security solution. Why? Because threat of ransomware and encrypting data, your backup became much more important. It wasn't just about a server going down, losing your hard drive and restoring it. Suddenly a BCDR became a response to cyber attacks. So, you can certainly continue to evolve, and partners have done that, but you got to continue to observe the market dynamics and look at the headlines as well. I mean, every day there's a new attack, probably headline somewhere. And, I had a friend back in the day, Raj, used to talk about newsjacking. And I remember that term coming up in an article a lot, but, use newsjacking to help your clients understand that SMBs are being attacked, and your coverage has to be expansive, but you also have to have insurance for those times that something does happen, because stuff happens, right?
Sure.
So let's kind of wrap up here, Scott. We can open up for questions if we have any folks out there asking questions, but some next steps. Hey, take a look at your client base. We talked about getting started quickly. Look at your stack and determine where you have gaps in coverage. I think, Scott, you said this will be recorded so folks can watch it, or, if you consider partnering with NetworkBox USA to expand your cybersecurity stack overnight, email partners@networkboxusa.com to get started now. Let's get that conversation going. You can email me directly. My email will be up on the next page, but let's have a conversation, see where we can fit, and get you rolling, protecting your clients and generating some revenue.
And I want to add one thing. If you do reach out to NetworkBox USA, be sure to let them know that you heard about them from IT Business Owners Group.
I like that. I love when my water bottle turns white.
That's right.
But so that's it, Scott. I mean, I don't know if we got any questions, or you got any thoughts after listening in.
No, I want to go back and watch everything again. So we, like you said, we record all of our live streams and we upload them to the IT Business Owners Group YouTube channel. So we will reshare that back within the community, IT Business Owners Group community. And I'll also send you a link as well after we're finished here, Len, and you can share that to your external audiences as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. And, any questions out there, Scott? Otherwise, I guess I can move to that final slide, right?
Yeah, show us the next slide.
Thank you for attending, and always love, again, to congratulate folks for kind of jumping in and listening in. So whether you listen in live or on demand, thanks for taking the time, and hopefully we've helped you today. Think about your cybersecurity stack and your approach to solving your client challenges and needs.
All great points. Well, Len, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to have this event with us, this live stream event. I have enjoyed it. And if anyone is interested in finding a great solutions provider to handle your cybersecurity needs, make sure to reach out to NetworkBox USA. So we appreciate your time. Thanks again, Len. I hope everybody has a great day.
All righty. Take it easy.
We'll see you. Thanks. Bye-bye.